Hi, this is Matthew Robert Payne. You may not have seen a video of me. I'm just a little guy concerning things. This is a video called Seven Concerning Lies Trump Told Tucker Carlson. So I was watching the Tucker Carlson interview a couple of days ago, and I noticed a couple of things that Trump said that I didn't necessarily find to be true. And the Holy Spirit today put it on my heart to re-watch the interview and note down some of the concerning things that Trump had to say. Um, I've I've come across a principle, and I'm not that educated, and I'm not that smart, but I've come across a thing called authority, that God gives certain people authority, and when a person has authority, uh, what they say doesn't seem to be questioned. And if you've got a lot of authority on your life, you can say things that might not be true and lead people astray because there's so much power on the words and people don't question you when you have authority. Well, that's a good thing in leadership. It's good to have authority and power on your words and have people obey what you have to say. But when deception is involved and someone's speaking from a place of authority and they're deceiving, that can be a dangerous thing. And I noticed there's a Christian prophet, preacher called Kat Kerr, and she had a whole lot of authority come on her life from God. And then she went into deception and started being led astray by Satan, and she still had that authority. So she was leading people astray with that authority on her voice. People were not questioning the things that she had to say. So I I re-listened. I just spent 40 minutes and re-listened to the Trump interview and noted down some questionable things that I felt that he said. And it's not going to be a long video, but here are some of the things, the seven concerning lies that I feel Trump told Tucker Carlson. Number one, in order of when they come up in the interview, Trump said he believed Epstein killed himself. Well, Epstein couldn't kill himself with a paper sheet, and Epstein couldn't put bruises on his neck that the coroner found are more evident of someone being strangled, and there were breaks in his neck, and Epstein was definitely killed by someone else. He had his roommate taken out of the room. He had cameras that weren't working, and the guards were asleep and weren't there watching him. And all of these factors add up to someone coming in and let themselves into his cell and killing him. So Donald Trump is a man with a massive following. I think when I watched the interview, 241 million people had watched the interview, and they watched Donald Trump officially say Epstein killed himself. And that's horrific to think that someone with so much intelligence and so much knowledge and so many resources more than myself would say a lie like that, and that was concerning. Lie number two, um, and this is something that Donald Trump has pushed, and Donald Trump supporters have continued to push, and it's just not verifiable. True, it hasn't been proven to be true. There were many more millions of votes in 2020 for me than there was for Biden. And that's something that's never been proven. And they continue to say that the election was rigged and the election was stolen. And Donald Trump said that the election was rigged, and he doubled down on that thing. He should be preparing for the 2024 election and saying positive things rather than harping on the fact that the election was stolen. My take is this: if God wanted Donald Trump to be president in 2020, he would have been elected, and no steal would have happened. It's the fact that Donald Trump become an idol in the people's hearts. He became an idol, and the people were practicing idolatry when it came to Trump, and were looking at him like some sort of messiah and answer for the country. And that's the reason God didn't allow Trump to be elected. Point number three, the third thing he said, which was concerning, he said the Ukraine war would have never started if he was president. That's conjecture. That's something that we'll never know. That's something that his authority brings forth to say that Putin would have respected him and been threatened by him and would have never started the Ukraine war if he was president. There's things happening that are larger than themselves. The American country is having like a proxy war with Russia and supplying arms and stuff. It's like America versus Russia through Ukraine. And we all know that the American system, the American industry, war industry, likes to have war, and certainly likes to earn the money of rebuilding countries. And so it's in America's interest to have that war and continue that war. The fourth thing he said, he prevented North Korea from having a nuclear war with South Korea. And he went on in the interview to say that the South Korean Olympics weren't going well until he stepped in and spoke to the North Korean leader and said, take your Olympians to the Olympics. And he said he rescued the Olympics in South Korea and prevented a war. That's once again conjecture, and we're never to know that. And, he's pretty well saying that if there was a Democrat leader in office rather than himself, you would have had a North Korean, South Korean nuclear war. And I just don't believe that. I think Donald Trump is lying there. The fifth lie: if I become president, China will get out of Cuba. So he says that he's got so much authority that China, who's got control in Cuba, will remove their infrastructure and remove their presence from Cuba. Once again, that's conjecture. That's just something he's saying. But he says it with such authority that there's a whole lot of people, there's millions of people that love Donald Trump and believe every word he says. And I used to be one of them. I used to be one of these loyal supporters that didn't believe Donald Trump lied. But here's once again him saying something with authority that didn't happen. He said he'll build a wall, and he didn't finish the wall. He said he'd drain the swamp, and he never drained the swamp. Donald Trump has got a reputation for saying things that don't happen. And when you've got this narrow focus, when you've got these blinkers on and everything you think is good coming from Donald Trump, you don't believe he lies or says mistruths or says things that don't pan out to be true. The eighth lie, and this is the one that got me yesterday when I was watching the video. Initially, I think I watched 20 minutes of it. Initially, 20 or 30 minutes of it, and this is the one that really stood out to me. He said the electric cars only run for an hour and a half, and you have to get them recharged at the hour and a half mark. And I think you can drive an electric car about 100 kilometers an hour. Is a good speed, and so the shortest distance an electric car will go is 135 kilometers, which is like an hour and a half drive. But the average one is double that distance, 300 kilometers, and that would be like 3 hours driving. So him blatantly, and the longest is 637 kilometers, like 6 hours driving. So if you're going to buy an electric car, you wouldn't buy one that just had a small range. You definitely buy one that's got an average range, which would be 3 hours. So here's the danger. Donald Trump is speaking with authority. He's speaking as though he's speaking the truth and knows the truth. And that was a blatant lie. He spoke the shortest distance and said that electric cars only have a range of 1.5 hours, and they're good for around the city, but not good for longer trips. And he said things like that, and it was a blatant lie. He was saying a half truth. He was saying something that wasn't true, and he's meant to be presidential. He's meant to be your president. According to Christians in the United States, he's the best thing since sliced bread. Everything Donald Trump says is gold, and that definitely wasn't gold. That was a mistruth. That was a half truth, and you could even say that was a lie. That was very blatant. It's a lie that Epstein killed himself too, and that's a blatant false truth, and something he knows he's saying that is false. And the seventh thing he said there in his speech is he had good relationships with the CIA, and that proved not to be true. And but it's once again conjecture, something that can't be proven. So I'll list in the description tag underneath this video, I'll put the link to the Tucker Carlson interview, and you can listen to Donald Trump for 45 minutes, repeat those lies, and you can see those lies in context. I'm a person who believes personally that Donald Trump is an idol in the hearts of millions of Americans, and millions of Americans see him like a Messiah type figure, and they've got too much of a devotion to him rather than a devotion to God. And I feel that God isn't for Donald Trump, and I personally think that the 2024 election, if you call the word stolen, if you call fraud in electoral process happening, I feel that God will allow Donald Trump not to get in once again. I sense America is under judgment, and that's just my opinion. Perhaps Donald Trump will get in, but the people of America who support Donald Trump are practicing idolatry and serving another god. If you like this video, please press like. It helps the video get more popular. If you're new to my channel, I'd encourage you to subscribe And if you have any comments that you want to make on this video, please feel free to comment. God bless.